One of the surefire ways to start a presentation is to start with an opinion asking question. It really gets the audience involved, and I'll show you how to do that in this video. Hey, this is Doug Standert with Fearless Presentations, the fastest, easiest way to eliminate public speaking fear. We're going to talk about how to get your audience involved in the presentation really early. In fact, this is one of our quote unquote presentation starters that you can use to actually get you started off on the right foot. Your audience, if they are able to give you their opinion very early in the presentation, they're going to have much greater buy-in to the content that you're presenting. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do this to make it a little bit more fun. The first way is to start off by just asking a question about the actual topic that you're going to be presenting on. Now, this can be a little challenging, and so you want to be careful if this is the technique that you're using, because you can basically just start off by saying something like, in a perfect world, and then tell them what the topic is, and then put that in a question format. So, like for instance, let's say that I'm giving a presentation about reducing public speaking fear or getting better at speaking in front of a group. I could start off a presentation by saying something like, hey, in a perfect world, if you were able to improve your public speaking skills, what kind of benefits would that have for you? Something like that, right? And so basically, by asking a question like that, it's really just asking their opinion, so there are no wrong answers, which makes it much easier. The challenge, though, is that they can tell you anything, and you have to pretty much be able to take whatever answer that they give you and be able to incorporate that into your presentation somewhere. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is that they'll start off with a question like this, and people will give them these great answers, and then they just kind of leave them hanging out there and never incorporate those back into the presentation. So it is a little bit more challenging to use this technique, and so I usually encourage folks to kind of do this only after they're a really comfortable speaker and they're really sure of what the audience is going to say. A better technique, though, the one that I tend to use myself a lot, is when I ask a question in three parts. It's what I call the three things question. So basically, I'm still asking an opinion asking question, but this time I'm giving them, it's almost like a multiple choice that they can choose from. So for instance, if I'm going to give a presentation on public speaking and public speaking fear, I could say something like, if you were to get better at public speaking, would you be more likely to want to focus on reducing that public speaking fear, or that public speaking nervousness, speeding up the design process so it's much easier, or being more persuasive? Which one of those do you think is going to be most helpful to you? And then I'll just kind of open it up to the audience to see what kind of responses that I get from them. Now, after I get a couple of, most of the time that's going to be kind of a one-word response. They're just going to give me one of those. Once they give me that response, I'll say, hey, just out of curiosity, why? So once I ask the question why, it now becomes an opinion asking question. The neat thing about that is that I can pick those three concepts that I ask about, those three things, and basically just pull those from the bullet points that I have in the presentation. So it makes it really easy to start the presentation with that, because I'm going to be covering every single one of those three things in my presentation. So the perfect answer that I might get from the audience would be, folks in the audience saying, well, all of those things. Okay, great. And then I pull up my slideshow and I've got those three bullet points on the slideshow. So it makes it really easy. So that technique can be really helpful if you really want to get the audience involved in your presentation, make them really want to pay attention, and make it a little bit easier for you to kind of capture the attention of the audience right at the early stages. So ask an opinion asking question. Hey, so if you haven't yet done so yet, make sure and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment below. Let me know how the information has been helpful for you. And if you have some ideas on ways that we can actually improve our videos, or ideas of topics that you want me to cover, make sure and leave that in the comments. I answer every single one of them. See you on the next Fearless Presentations video.